Dream Team, it's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with Larry Bird, Beyond the Glory. We're going to break this down into 3 parts. Before we jump in the first part, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You don't subscribe to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me, shoot me, talk back. Well, we got Larry Legend.
Don't believe it! Phelan is at the bottom of that pile!
Behind the net, the Sanderson, on the arm! Orr to the Boston run! What he made! Just off his fraudulent feet! This is the big difference. Hold it! Hold it! You're not that quick. Come on, man! Let's shoot up the wall! Reggie Jackson is in his third home run of the game!
Hello, I'm Chris Fowler for Sports Century. Larry Bird could have been a poster boy for the 1950s NBA. He wasn't fast, he wasn't sleek, and he couldn't soar far above the rim. But when he assembled all the little ordinary, outdated pieces of himself and walked onto a basketball court, he was a player for all ages, styles, and colors. Although some Boston fans may have seen him as a white hope, Bird played above race, drawing admiration from every corner of the game.
When I played, Larry Bird was the only one I feared. A lot of black guys always asked me, could Larry Bird really play that good? I said, man, Larry Bird was so good, it's frightening.
You are watching what greatness is all about.
If you put all of us in a room, Magic, Jordan, myself, and Bird probably be the guy who walks out of the room at the end of the day.
We had a 3-point contest at the All-Star break, and Larry walks in and says, I hope all you guys in here are thinking about second place because I'm winning this. Excuse me? And he started shooting, and he just didn't miss.
Larry was the originator of getting in your face and talking trash. And then you sit there and you go, this guy up in my face talking noise. He ain't that fast, he's slow. But he knew how to aggravate you, agitate you enough to get you out of your game.
I was guarding in my rookie year. He looked at me and he goes, you can't stop me. And I looked at him and I said, gosh, boy, you're so confident. He goes, confident? You're a rookie. You don't know anything. He proceeded to score like 10 straight points on me. The coach took me out the game. He walks by and he's laughing at me.
Larry Bird catches the ball in the corner. I take off running out at Larry Bird. And right when he's getting ready to shoot, I jump. And as I go by, him, he tells me, he says, fly, Bird. And I go right by him, and he shoots the ball. It's nothing but nylon.
Larry Bird was a pain in the neck. Anytime we had a chance to win, Larry Bird changed that.
Larry Bird follows his own shot. Oh,
there was a certain confidence you had because, if you ever got in trouble, give the ball to Larry and get out of his way, and he delivered.
the double team and Bird. Larry, fall away.
Hey, just hearing him respected so much, revered so much by his peers and basketball greats, about just how great Larry was, about Magic fearing him, Carr saying, if you ever in trouble, get a ball to Larry, hey, he gonna bail you out, just get out of his way, let him do his thing, you feel me? Woodridge talking trash, getting you out of your game. He's just incredible, phenomenal basketball player.
Team and Bird, Larry, fake, fall away. Hits it! All right!
He was a cold-blooded killer. In the last 24 seconds, he would demand the basketball in the huddle.
Goes baseline, throws it up, and Larry Bird did it again! He did it again! Oh my goodness! He did it again!
He was a basketball genius. He'd be a step ahead, a thought ahead, play the game like a chess game.
Over the shoulder!
I'd much rather guard Michael Jordan than Larry Bird because,
You have to play the game as a thinker when you're playing him. You have to get inside his mind. Larry wasn't quick, couldn't jump really high, but there was just some sleepless nights.
Bird takes the bomb. It's gone. It is gone.
Bounce, Bird. Nice tip to McHale.
He had a mind that was like a camera. He had the best hand-eye coordination, maybe, of anybody that ever played basketball.
The rebound to Bird. Look at that pass. Oh, what a shot.
Bravado, backed by a devilish brilliance, helped earn Larry Bird the distinction as the only forward to win 3 MVP awards. Off the court, he was also less than angelic, playing pranks and telling tales, always at home in the company of bib overalls, cheap cigars, and tap brew.
He was a beer in the garage guy in the Champagne League. That's where he feels comfortable. I mean, he's, a beer in the garage and a little conversation and tell a couple of stories, and that's a good time.
Larry, myself, and Kevin McHale went out one time. I'm trying to drink with Larry, who is a two-fisted drinker. So I drank until I couldn't drink anymore. We went to eat in a restaurant. And I remember feeling bad. And I put my head in the seat. And I said, oh, man, I need some water. So I drank this big swallow of water. And what Larry had done was like put this whole little mini bottle of vodka in the water. And that just sent me over the edge. And it was just so funny to him that I went outside and I started feeding the animals.
Practically the first week we had signed him, I get a phone call at home, 2 o'clock in the morning, it seemed like. And you better get over to Burke's Tavern because Larry Bird's there and God knows what's going to happen. And I thought, thinking, that's not such a great neighborhood. I'd better get over there. I go over there and he is bellied up to the bar with about 50 people around him. He's wearing a Mack truck cap and overalls. He's just a good old boy. He's having a hell of a time. And everybody around him is relating to him.
He knew the janitors and the equipment guys, and those were his guys more than the high roller luxury box guys. He doesn't like phonies, stiffs them out right away.
He relates to a plumber or an electrician or a cop, because that's what he came from.
We had a great dinner, and we said, hey, Larry, you gotta give a good tip. What? All they did was bring it from the kitchen to here? No. Larry goes up, gets up, goes in the back and gives it the big tip to the cook.
Larry was just built different, you know what I'm saying? Larry didn't want the spotlight. He didn't care about any of that. Larry just wanted to play basketball. He wanted to do his job. And he could relate more with it, like they said, with the janitors, you know what I'm saying, the electricians, just the kind of the hard-working blue-collar people rather than like the high-level phonies and all that. You know what I'm saying? Larry didn't care about all that. Larry just wanted to play basketball and enjoy his life, it seemed like.
Yeah, big tip to the cook.
He's very tight and he doesn't like to spend money. And we're playing blackjack. After a couple hands, Larry, I think, is down like $1.50 or something, He leaves. I'm looking, where's he going, And he's gonna quit because he's losing money.
He had this kind of inferiority complex. I remember him telling me when we had a long interview about dreaming about money. And it was something he constantly dreamed about. And he would find a huge sum, like $1 million, under the front steps. I think it related to the fact that the Birds were kind of poor white trash, or some people thought they were. So that he always had that to sort of rise above. And obviously, like a lot of people who are gifted in that one way, he could do it on the basketball court.
I love that, man.
On Friday nights, the high school gym in French Lick, Indiana, reverberates with the sounds of teenagers, adults, and entire families. Basketball provides Larry Bird's hometown with its strongest cultural pulse.
It's a way of life. The coffee shops, the restaurants, the barbershops, everyone talks basketball.
It's what forms community in Indiana. It's cultured basketball. It's rural. It's white kids on farms doing nothing all day long but shooting jump shots so that they are great pure shooters. It's a kid alone with a very simple basket again and again. I remember Larry telling me how he had waxed the net because the net would last longer that way.
Everybody in my town had the same things. It seemed like nothing. So all we did was play sports.
Born in nearby West Baden in 1956, Bird was raised in French Lick, one of the poorest towns in Indiana. And the Birds were among its poorest families. Larry's father, Joe, bounced from one blue-collar position to another. His mother, Georgia, worked 2 jobs.
He grew up in one of the most simplistic ways imaginable. His family didn't have a phone till he was a teenager. They didn't have a TV for a long time either.
The Birds routinely moved to different rented house, none of which were ever big enough to accommodate everybody, so that the Bird brothers would routinely move in with the grandmother for a school year to alleviate the space crunch in the house.
Really, the essence of Larry to me is his mother, who would get up at 3:30 in the morning and go work at a diner in the morning, and then come back as the kids were getting ready for school, get them off to school, and then trudge off to her next job because they didn't have a car. And Larry talks about his father with a bad ankle coming home from work, taking off his work boots, and the ankle swells up to, 6 times its size. But in the next morning, he's jamming that boot back on and he's going back to work.
Yeah, that's just coming from a poor background, but a very hard-working background. Know what I'm saying? They did whatever they could to get by, it sounds like. Larry Bird was just, I'm sure being raised in that environment, and seeing your parents just going to work no matter what. Know what I'm saying? Mom waking up 3:30 in the morning, going to a diner, coming home, get the kids ready for school. As soon as they start going to school, now she's going out to the next job. Dad, ankle swells 6 times its size. Seeing him jamming that work boot on. Go back to work. Like, he grew up seeing that, and you know what I'm saying? And it looks like his parents definitely instilled that hard working inside of him.
Morning, he's jamming that boot back on and he's going back to work.
He loved his father. His father was a flawed man. His father was an alcoholic. His father was a laborer who had skills that he could only bring to bear when he was sober enough to work.
The weekends weren't fun a lot of times because, you're young and your father comes in. My mom always had to get up 3 or 4 in the morning, or we had to get up, to make sure, he didn't hurt himself.
Among Joe Bird's interior demons were unshakable images from a combat tour in Korea.
Joey was through hell in the war. And he saw a lot of buddies killed, and he was in foxholes and stuff, and things like that can drain on a guy's mind. And Georgie even said that he'd wake up at night screaming and hollering, "Get down, get down."
As Joe's alcoholism advanced, the women in the Bird family assumed greater responsibilities. Grandmother Lizzie often watched over the 5 sons and 1 daughter. Long before Joe and Georgia divorced in 1972, Larry had withdrawn into isolation and silence.
He was very quiet and shy. He led by example rather than by words.
I saw Larry take an F in an English class because he wouldn't speak in front of his own peers.
He felt awkward. He felt poor. He felt scorned. He wasn't handsome. There was the broken home, a feeling of not having the essential elements of solidity in your family that allows you to feel as good as anyone else. He raised himself up and found the one true thing, basketball, that could let him out of what was this tiny island of his own little white ghetto.
I was playing one time, and there were some grown-ups standing around, and I was playing really well, and they were really excited about it. And once I seen the impact I was making, just with a few people standing there, I started playing more and more and started to develop my skills and really take my game to another level.
After sitting out most of his sophomore season with an ankle injury, the 6'2" Bird began a significant spurt of growth, almost 5 inches over 2 years. By his
that would have been so nice if I could have had that kind of growth spurt. If only my genetics would have allowed it.
Senior year, college recruiters were visiting Southern Indiana to see the young gun who was averaging 31 points and 21 rebounds.
The hype, the excitement of the local towns going to those games, it was amazing. We're like, what can he do yet tonight? What's he going to do tonight?
In 1974, Bird took his competitive fire to Indiana University, But when he arrived in Bloomington, the deprivations of his home life back in French Lick pulled heavily on his closely held yet highly sensitive emotions.
Coming from a town that had around 2,000 and going somewhere where they had over 30,000, right away I sensed that I was in the wrong environment.
You know, you can just see the two closets in this little dormitory room. And then one kid's got this rack of fine, nice clothes. And Larry Bird's got nothing but a couple of pairs of jeans.
I don't think he was really ready to go to school. And I wasn't as attuned to what his needs were as a kid as I should have been.
We passed Coach Knight going to a bookstore at IU, and Larry acknowledged, just, so I said, "Hi, Coach Knight," and he just kept walking. And it really hurt Larry's feelings.
Plus, I didn't have the funds and the clothing and things I thought I needed to get me through. I made my mind up that I couldn't survive there, and it was time to go.
Less than a month later, Bird retreated to French Lick. He enrolled in a nearby junior college, but quit after 2 days and went to work for the street department. In early February of 1975, Joe Bird delivered on a recurrent threat. He committed suicide at the age of 48.
His father cared very much for his family. Certainly there was talk in town that he had trouble taking home that paycheck, and he would often stop at the bar and not quite make it home. And he killed himself, Larry believes, and I think most of the family believes, so the family could have the insurance money. They had a lot of financial problems, and I think Larry's dad at that point thought they were better off without him than with him.
He was crushed that he lost his father. They were very close to their father, even though he wasn't always there. To see the children and to see Mrs. Bird on that period of time was very difficult.
It definitely was a tough year, there's no question about that. But the one thing that I did was make a decision where I was going to make my own decisions from that point on, and if there was good decisions, that's great. If there's bad decisions, I had to live with them.
Larry's hard to figure out because he doesn't really show emotions. I'm sure he had a lot of pain. He just holds it inside.
Just 6 months after his father's death, Bird started a journey toward personal growth and basketball greatness. He enrolled at Indiana State.
Yeah, I can't imagine going through that, man. Yeah, that's definitely tough. But we're going to go ahead and cut it off right there, here in the beginning of Bird's story. I can't wait to keep going, but that's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media and Patreon, all up top. You can subscribe to any of it. Put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy Neal. Out.